flag. We ain't never gonna lag. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore we make our stand.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jersey Shore podcast. That is SURE because we are sure about what we say and what we talk about on our podcast. We are brought to you by the Patriots Prayer Network and produced by the First Amendment Productions. Damon, unfortunately, is not here with us today. I am actually, taking his spot as host, so bear with me. This is my first time going through this, and tonight we are have the pleasure of having Pete Sykes here to my right, who's kindly jumped in for Damon since he's not feeling well. Okay, so let's get to it here. First thing I wanted to say that's all over the news that I'm sure most of you are all aware of is the tragedy that occurred with the Black Hawk helicopter and the American Airlines aircraft. Our hearts, everybody here from Jersey Shore and First Amendment and Patriots Prayer Network, all hearts go out to all of the families. Prayers, thoughts, prayers, love, support, anything. It's as a mom, as a nurse, and as a mom of people in the military as well. This is just an unfortunate, horrific incident. All the parents and families of those that had skaters on that airplane and all the military families that are involved, our hearts are with you during this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a tragedy, Jen. Thank you for having me today. I'm the better looking Damon today, just in case anybody was wondering. No, it's a tragedy that happened, with that. And, I don't know if it was incompetence or, something worse than that. But, following the investigation coming up, hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it.
Yes, I'm sure that we will get to the bottom of it. President Trump has assured us that he has gotten briefed and he knows all about it, but the information will come out once it's more thoroughly investigated. I've seen everything from we've heard on the news all the different scenarios, the possibilities of things, including conspiracy theory stuff too. I might save that for another episode, but.
Donald Trump just came out and he signed 2 new executive orders as of tonight. Once again, he's promoting someone to the deputy director of the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. Mm-hmm. And he's also signed another one to go ahead and try to continue removing DEI from these organizations.
Yes.
We don't know if it was, they said, I just saw a report saying that it was one operator maintaining both flying vehicles, right? Mm-hmm. He was in communication with both of them. They say that that's very unusual. I'm not an aviator. I've never been in a control, tower, so I have no idea. But either way, it's just it's a shame to see this happen, and we can't let it happen again.
No, we need to make sure that we figure out what plan we can put in place, or what protocols or what safety measures we can do to try to prevent this from ever happening again. I mean, that's kind of even, I know a lot about that. It's what I do for a living, try to making sure that on the medical end of things that people are following protocols and following what they're supposed to do. And again, they're just protocols. Doesn't mean that if you follow every protocol correctly, that something, unfortunate can't happen. You can't plan for everything, but we need to make sure that we are at least following and doing our due diligence to make sure that we prevent these things from happening and correct the mistakes. So I hope that happens.
Well, even with protocols, like you were saying, I mean, you still have to be able to roll with the punches, right? Something always
Like
comes
we're
up.
doing
There's
now.
always, that's it, right? Something always comes up. There's always going to be a situation that you have to think on think fast.
Right. Critical thinking.
Critical thinking, that's it. And you have to be able to operate under, dire circumstances. Unfortunately, that was unable to happen this go around.
Right. And did you know, I'm just going to put this out there anyway, but did you know that back in 2020, I think I have that date right. Let me just check over here. Yes. There was actually something called the Matrix that was
I've seen the movie.
Not the movie.
Oh, sorry.
I know that sounds cool, but yes, it's technology where basically it's called the Matrix Autonomous. So it basically allows the Black Hawk helicopter to fly by itself without
self-driving helicopters.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and apparently it's kind of like an autopilot, I guess you could say.
Sure.
So, but I don't know if that's something we have to have that looked into, though. Like, was that something that it's a new technology? Were they testing that out to see how they could, have the plane fly without it? And maybe it misjudged. Maybe that's why it might have been higher than it was supposed to be. These are the things or the questions that, that's stuff that's not being talked about. And I would imagine that's because it's kind of AI, probably kind of technology, because how it's operated, that Matrix system can also be operated from a tablet on the ground and like a remote control.
Well, you see they're doing all these drones here too, right? So, I mean, you'd think that they'd be a little bit better off if that was the case.
So there's a lot of this technology. You can look it up yourself on the aviationist.com. And it's all it's a program that's with Lockheed Martin and a bunch of other different companies and whatnot.
All the defense contractors, the deep state corporations. Okay, got it.
Well, and the thing is, it's very interesting. But the point is that these Black Hawk helicopters, it makes me question a couple of things, like where they have all these bells and whistles on it and alarms and sensors. They can navigate and maneuver really quickly in tough situations. So I don't understand. Something went wrong. Somebody was doing something or not paying attention, or they were maybe if it was
intentional.
It could have been, but I'm just saying if it was that, I mean, we don't know if it's terroristic. They're not saying that, but you don't know if somebody else, like if they do have this technology, let's just say, and they got into the wrong hands and somebody hacked into it and did something, like we don't know. And this technology is like the newest thing right now. And they're not going to want to make it look bad because there's a lot of money involved. So they're going to hush it up for a little bit until they can figure it out for sure. And I'm hoping that the truth will come out.
Well, it always will.
For all those families,
the truth always comes out.
Have the answers, So
a couple of things I want to add to it real quick. I don't know if it was earlier yesterday or very in the near, the very near past. There was reports where 2 other airplanes almost had a collision at that same exact airport.
Oh, wow.
One was getting ready to take off, and another one came flying in. And this one going to take off was at 110 miles an hour and had to slam the brakes on, while the other one cut them off.
Oh,
and
wow.
going, so I mean, is this two cases of incompetence in the same day? I mean, what are we looking at?
I just saw on the before I even got here on the news on the 5, I think it's called.
Okay.
The one of the Fox News shows, and they were saying that there's been a lot of vacancies. They haven't been able for the air traffic controllers and the vacancies were caused by the DEI policy. So they needed to fill so many. And they turned away like 1,000 applicants
and qualified individuals
because of the DEI. And the DEI is not just about black and white. It has to do with, a whole broad stroke of things.
Gender ideology, all types of different things.
All kinds of different things.
That shouldn't matter when you're trying to get a job, right? It's all about qualifications.
Right. So the problem is that if you have minority individuals of any kind and they're a smaller pool and you need a big pool to fill and you're looking for a needle in the haystack out of the smaller pool, you're not going to be able to fill all these vacancies in time. I'm all about, fair and merit-based hires. And I don't care what you look like or what you identify as long as you can do the darn job.
That's it.
So
especially a job like this is a very dangerous job, clearly.
Right.
You have to be on top of your game.
Right. Since since they've been in effect, we've had a lot of different tragedies happen, even back out in Ohio during the Biden administration with the train.
Oh God, the train derailment.
That's still a whole big mess, and nobody talks about that anymore. But
well, that's because Pete Buttigieg was on vacation for just as long as Biden almost. I mean,
All right. So, and all this is happening within the first week. I mean, there are coincidences. I tend to not believe in coincidences, but there are some, I'm sure, that exist. So I'm hoping that this was all just a tragic accident, just wrong place, wrong time kind of situation. I'm hoping it's nothing, nefarious or anything crazy going on. And I hope that these poor families find out the truth sooner than later.
Agreed.
Okay, with that, as I said, there's a lot that's happened since Trump took office. A lot of Democrats and Democrat states are panicking and melting down. They're even trying to do their usual fear tactics. Trump has locked down the borders. He has reinstated and remain in Mexico. He ended Biden's catch and release. He has deployed a lot more military troops to help support and protect our border, to stop the invasions. He also has the Laken Riley Act. Trump has also defunded and stopped DEI programs in federal agencies and restored merit-based hires. And he has banned chemical and surgical mutilation of children. The Trump team has been busy at work in such a short amount of time. Okay. And he is bringing law and order back and common sense. So let's get to our first segment.
Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore we make our stand.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Ready?
Yes.
Generation.
Our first segment is called Peace Through Strength. One of the videos that we're going to show is Tom Homan and Dr. Phil arrest criminal illegals on the streets of Chicago. Let's go to the segment one, video one.
Say the sound.
There's Dr. Phil and Tom Homan.
Where are you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
Come on, Tom.
Never been deported?
No.
I've been in the system before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Shots fired.
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk to my lawyer.
You don't want to say.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen?
Yes.
But you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
Who's Dr. Phil? We got Dr. Phil.
Yeah. How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. And he's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with. Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really? And never been deported?
Nope.
Huh. Let's take them in process and lock them up.
How are you not really charged with sex crimes against children? It's a yes or no question.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I don't understand, how that's an acceptable response. Not really? Like, you don't know?
So I guess not really meant that he was never really convicted. He was probably just brought in on it. But then since he's an illegal and he gets right back out, he's never really been convicted. So I guess that it is a not really in that regard because of the way the policies are. Our laws aren't being followed. Everybody's just catch and release. Nobody's getting charged with anything. So
Well, they weren't, but they're about to start, you know,
Yes.
and thank God for that. I mean, look, we still have 350, thousand missing children from the border that we know of. You know, I'm sure that number is significantly higher than what we've been told months ago. You know, and there's all types of different, reports coming out. What's going on with these children? Apparently, they came out and found 70,000 of them or something. Holman did. You know, right off Jump Street. It took him 4 days, and he identified where 70,000 of these kids are. I mean, look, and it's funny that Dr. Phil is involved in this. Now, Dr. Phil went ahead, and he actually is the one that brought this whole story to light about the Border Patrol agents facilitating dropping these children off to these random places with, calling this number, not verifying who's there, and dropping these kids off. So Dr. Phil, I don't know how he turned into, a hero on America's side here, but I love to see it. We need more people in that platform to continue doing what he's doing.
Yes, and I agree with you 100%. And we need more people to start stepping up. And I'm hoping that more people are going to have the confidence to start turning in people, start, saying stuff and not being in fear of being, called or labeled or called names or labeled or, being hateful rhetoric being thrown at them. I'm hoping even other possible illegals might even turn in the illegal, like the criminal ones, I mean, anybody that's here illegally with a criminal background of any kind needs to go right away ASAP, like they're doing. There's no questions asked, no nothing, just out of here.
Well, you see, they just opened up Guantanamo Bay now, and they're going to be holding 30,000 illegal criminals over there. So we'll see. I mean, look, we don't necessarily want to house them here. That's taxpayer money at work as well, right?
True.
So we don't want to keep floating the bill for this. But I love to see what just happened with Colombia, where all of a sudden Trump is sending 2 planes over to Colombia. Colombia president says, nope, sorry, you can't land here.
Yeah,
that's racist, and then Trump says, okay, fine, tariffs. Within an hour, he's on the phone.
Yes, I changed my mind. We welcome them.
Yeah, bring them back. We'll take them, bring them all.
Bring them all back.
So it's just funny how we're immediately seeing things start to turn around, and Trump is just, hey, look, tariffs, one word.
Right.
One word and that's it.
And that's sending a loud message across the country to all
across the world.
People,
across the world. Yeah.
Even across the world. I mean, it's sending a message that we're not going to play this game anymore, and you need to take it seriously.
And that's peace through strength, right? We didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to go out of our way to do anything abhorrent. We just went ahead and said, hey, look, take them back, or this is what's happening. Right. And they folded immediately.
Right. They they caved, they did it. And now we have people like Dr. Phil and Tom Homan, and hopefully many, many more that are going to start stepping up, or at least the red tape will be going away to actually prosecute and capture these people.
Well, that's the hope. That's what we hope to see.
Through strength, peace through strength, whichever you want to call it.
That's it, peace through strength. Well, we always have to stay hopeful. You know what I mean? Being hopeful is very, very important. It's the most thing, because look, you take hope away from people, and all of a sudden, bad things start to happen. Right? We need to have hope.
That's what we didn't have hope in the Biden administration.
Oh my God, no! It was a nightmare.
We had despair in the Biden administration.
That's
we had
it.
Fear, and fear was their number one.
And they tried to keep it separated, right? That was the censorship. That was the censorship.
That's what I meant by in my segment. Like these Democrats, sanctuary cities and Democratic states, which most of them have the sanctuary cities, and Democrats in general, they're all fear. I was even seeing it on, they're picking apart, Trump's speech, and didn't feel like it was emotional enough, and felt like he went into other topics, and was being too political in the wake of a tragedy. And look, he's got a job to do. I thought that what he said, his message to the families, was sincere. That was his first point of order, his first topics. And then, yes, he has other stuff that he has to do and get to. He's got a job to do, and he's got to get his stuff done as fast as possible.
And listen, 4 days, 4 days, he's doing a bang up job right now, right? So we just need to keep that momentum rolling.
So Well, let's go into our get ready to go into our segment 2.
Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore, we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
Appointees and stuff like that.
All right. Welcome back to segment 2. We called this segment the Vance Dance. In segment 2, Vance clashes with CBS Margaret Brennan during a fiery debate over a refugee program paused by Trump. There's 6 clips that I want to talk about tonight in this. We kind of separated it all out so you're not watching the entire thing, but feel free to do so on your own time. But there's 6 little segments of this video that we're going to talk about. Let's see the first video.
It was a tie, bipartisan opposition, smallest margin since the job was created. You had to break that tie. If the nominee can't unite your party, how's he going to lead 3 million people?
Well, look, I think Pete is a disruptor, and a lot of people don't like that disruption, but Margaret, that disruption is incredibly necessary. If you think about all of those bipartisan massive votes, we have to ask ourselves, what did they get us? They got us a country where we fought many wars over the last 40 years, but haven't won a war about as long as I've been alive. They've got us a military with a major recruitment crisis, a procurement price crisis that's totally dysfunctional, where we buy airplanes for billions and billions of dollars, terrible cost overruns, the delivery dates are always delayed. So we need a big change. Now, admittedly, there are people who don't like that big change, but it is necessary, and it's explicitly what Donald J. Trump ran on. And I think part of the reason why the American people elected him their 47th president.
What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, once again, he's talking about the deep state, right? There's people that don't like the military industrial complex, and they're building these jets, they're taking too long, their price is way too much. And he's not wrong.
No, absolutely.
And it's just, look, we just keep chipping away at the deep state, right? We need to get away from the military industrial complex. We need to do it because, war is just no good. It's anti-human, right? The loss of human life. That's why I keep saying that the most important thing on this planet is human life, right? The human experience. Without that, what is this place, right? This is one of the only planets that can hold life that we have in our little solar system. We're in that. So human life is the most precious thing here. War is anti-life.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that, but we do need to make sure that we're able to be a secure and
we need to make sure that nobody else can come get us.
Right? Yeah. So if someone's going to try to do an attack, or if we need to help protect our allies, we need to make sure that we're able to do that. So, but we need to be smart and cost effective. I think that money going into our military is well deserved, and but we have to be smart about it. We have to take a look at the need versus the want. Okay, we need to be able to protect ourselves. We don't need, and we need to stay up to date too. I mean, because China and other nations are always one step ahead. Well, maybe they're not always one step ahead, but they're right there with us, okay? They're not usually far behind, but their technologies and different things. Like right now, they have a lot of AI capability. AI is becoming a big, huge thing, and that's going to be a dangerous thing if it gets into the wrong hands.
Well, true.
So we need to make sure that we are stepping up our game and that we are on top of things. But we need to do it I don't want to just overspend. I don't want to just buy things just to buy things. It's like, it's not a free for all. So
well, that's what they do, right? They say that, the budget, if they don't use up their entire budget, then they'll get a lessened budget the next year, right? This is why you always had those reports on $15,000 hammers and toilet seats
everywhere. Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a shame that if we had the right people in charge of the planet, right? Each one of these countries, you wouldn't have to be worried about defense and all these different things, because if everybody's just trying to bring people up and do the right things, then we don't have any more wars.
There's always
I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. You know what I mean? Look, I get it.
Look, there's a good and evil in the world.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
just the yin and yang. It's the good and the evil. It's just the way the world works. I would love to have.
Well,
I'm a
that's what the
peace-loving kind of girl myself.
that's what the Great
okay?
Awakening represents to me, right? Where the people of the world are starting to wake up and say, "Hey, we don't have to be doing this." Trump is the first president to have no new wars.
I know.
You know,
know.
I mean, if we
We
could all
don't have to go to war. War should be a last resort.
agreed.
Last resort.
Agreed. You know, but yeah, I mean, look, the fact of the matter is the deep state just wants to they make bullets, right? So they need to have war so that they can sell their bullets. You know, I mean, and that's what Vance is talking about, and the deep state doesn't like that, right? So we just keep
Well,
taking.
there's money in war.
Oh, that's exactly it. Yeah,
There is.
for the people providing the weapons.
If you look back in history, war is always about money in the end. It's about
Selling the guns
power
to kill
and
himself
money.
and the medicine to get him back up and ready for round 2.
Right. So I mean, there's a lot of evil in war. I agree with that, but there is some necessity, and there has to be a better balance. There has to be smart choices and smart decision making. If you're just all about power and evil, then you're going to run with it in the wrong way. I think Trump has the right mentality. I know a lot of the deep states, or maybe I won't even say that. Maybe a lot of the liberals all thought that he's going to have World War III and he's going to cause this and that. He's actually a very good negotiator. He's not going to want a war any more than anybody. He's not going to profit from it like the way Biden and other people are, because they're like, putting stocks and or having favors with this one and that one. He's not doing any of that stuff. He's not scratching someone else's back to get a favor. Like, he doesn't need that.
Yeah.
He doesn't need this job. He's doing it for the people.
Yeah.
So that is why he's going to have peace.
Well, that's what's important with a lot of his cabinet picks and everything too, right? Is the fact that they don't need money. They're not out there trying to lobby and get one of these big jobs afterwards. They're already well off, and they just want to go ahead and try to save the country, right? They work for the people. They want to try to build the country back up to what it should have been in the first place.
Right. The word elites kind of gets a very bad rap. Okay. They are some elites in certain areas. Now, like with Elon Musk, for example. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Elon Musk. Okay.
I got questions.
He does a lot of good things, but there's a lot of some things that I'm questionable with. Any elites, there's going to be maybe I think you'd be irresponsible not to ask questions. Okay, about certain things.
We should question everything. We should question everything.
Power, you got to start being like, what are you doing with it? So, I agree. Think of that. But there are some elites that are just pure evil.
Yes.
Okay. Like Bill Gates and Soros, and we can go on, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right
World
now.
Economic Forum, who crushed Trump crushed them the other day as well. That was beautiful.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit
hole.
Sorry,
my bad. Listen, I'll walk that rabbit hole with you, Jen. That's where I get down at.
So, but there are some elites that's, like some of his cabinet picks, or like Elon Musk and even Trump himself. Okay. He's got a lot of money and a lot of power. Has he always done probably the right thing with it at all times? Probably not. Okay. We're all human. We are going to make mistakes. We might make bad choices thinking that they had the best intentions, but they might be bad choices. That's just the human nature of things. I feel that his cabinet picks have the right intentions. Okay. And I am hopeful that that's the direction we're going to stay in. And we're not, because I'll tell you what, a lot of this AI and new technology stuff scares the pants off.
I've seen Terminator. Okay? All right.
Yes.
I don't get down with the machines.
And the Matrix. And it does. And maybe call me old fashioned because,
I don't mess with Skynet, Jen. I'm sorry. I've seen too many
movies as a Gen Xer, okay, that this was all warning us.
I'm telling you.
Don't get me wrong. I was looking forward to, as a kid, like the Jetsons and being able to fly around on my little
flying
thing
cars.
and just putting in the food. But if you think about it, though, sometimes, minus the flying cars, like there's not that much difference. Like we can just order food now and it comes, and
with the power of the cell phone, you can look up anything, anytime, anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like our little Rosie from the Jetsons, she's not necessarily, but Rosie is like your Uber and your whatever. Like you have things that just come to you at the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
So we're getting there in a different way, but it's starting to make us lazy.
Yeah. Well,
and
that
that's
is
what I'm
and
afraid of.
disconnected, right?
Yes.
That is a huge problem, is being disconnected. So I
Yes.
say that I think the future, we have to get back to small communities. You know,
Yes.
I think that going backwards to go forwards is the only way. I think that we
Yeah.
have to get back to small communities. I mean, look, right now you have families that don't even talk to half of their family
Yeah, that's just messed
because,
up.
of politics or whatever else.
Messed
And
up.
they encourage it, right? They had that Harvard professor or wherever she was from come out and say, oh, well, maybe for these holidays, you have to separate from your family if they voted for Trump. No, bro, you need to get back together, get close,
Yeah, you need to
talk
find your
about
common
this.
ground again.
That's it.
It's not
Yeah.
politics, it's not everything. All right, let's go to our second video, part 2.
Major period of disruption, and we think Pete Hegseth is the guy to lead the job. Now, there's another element to this, Margaret, too, which is we believe that military morale, at least until the election of President Trump, was historically low. You had the Army missing recruitment goals by tens of thousands of soldiers, and already recruitment is starting to pick up because Pete Hegseth is fundamentally a warfighter's leader at the
turn it up a
Department of
little?
Defense. He is a guy who sees not through the perspective of the generals or the bureaucrats. He looks at things through the perspective of the men and women that we send off to fight in our wars.
Okay, I couldn't hear that one, so you're gonna have to.
All right, that's all right. No worries, no worries. So, basically the idea is that we're still in a deficiency, okay, for our military recruitment goals, but that's starting to pick up, right? So, look, with the
Yes.
military woke, with the DEI,
Yes.
all these things that were going on in there, the problem is, people didn't want to be patriotic. People didn't want to join the military where they were told that they were wrong because they were the wrong race or the wrong gender or the wrong gender identity. Who wants to protect that? Who has pride in America, when that's what they're being sold?
Right. Now, here's the thing. Now, I told you I have a lot of military family, friends, and whatnot.
I have a lot of my family as well.
And so there's two points that I want to make on this as far as like the recruitment goes. Like first of all, the first point is part of the problem. I talked to a couple of people who were, sergeants and trained in this or that. Part of the problem that a lot of people, I think that was an issue, is that they weren't allowed to discipline anymore. Like, so military had a reputation that they yelled at you, they insulted you.
Drill sergeants,
they
yep.
had to break you down to build you up.
Mhm.
Okay, that's kind of the mentality that they had. Now, right or wrong, okay, maybe some crossed the line, maybe some went too far, maybe whatever. But now they weren't allowed to, like, they just get this little write up and then they get sent. It's almost like you got to go in timeout and then you come back. And that's not, you need somebody to be able to, like, respond to you when you give them an order. Not just be like, well, I'm not in the mood for that right now.
I'm
and
so
give a little
scared.
write up. You're going to have to go to war. You can't be having a debate about this.
I have heard stories. Okay, I used to run a 28-day program for vets. Okay, and I have heard stories that they had cards. And if they were feeling triggered and you came at them too hard, they would pull up their card and you would have to back off and not be able to discipline or come at said soldier. Are you kidding me? You got bullets flying around all over. You're not pull out your damn card? What are we talking about?
You can just wave the white flag and be like, I surrender.
Oh my God. And this it's being mentally tough, right? I mean, you have to be mentally tough. That's why they drill you so hard so that you're ready for any situation you're put in.
Well, it's not just that. That is absolutely right. But it's also to weed out the ones who can't do it. So they know where you fit into the piece of puzzle, whether you need to like leave or whether you need to go in a different area, more of a desk job or whatever. Like they need to break you down to build you up to figure out where you're going to be the most productive. And then the second part, my one son just told me this, is that part of the recruitment that they're doing is they're having a lot of the young, good-looking girls that are in the military try to go out and recruit to get men to come back in, real men to come back in. So I'm like,
I'll tell you,
I don't know. I guess that might work.
They were grilling Hegseth over women in the military. All right. Listen, let me go ahead and tell you, when you start introducing women into a bunch of men, there's going to be problems.
Oh, yeah. There's
going to be problems, whether they're competing to try to get the men. There's going to be all types of relationships going on that shouldn't be there. When your life is on the line, you need to be focused on what it
Women
is that
can-
you're
but
doing.
You can do it. I mean, I think that there is a way to get them along, but you kind of have to have them separate but together at the same time. Like
Yeah.
there's times to be together, but you have to have them separate. Just like the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. Okay.
Fair.
I am in. I'm part of a Boy Scout troop, and when they started letting girls in, okay, they're supposed to be separate. At first they were kind of together and mixed in, and that was causing problems because then the boys started flirting with the girls started flirting with the boys, nobody wanted to do stuff. Now it was about their hair, and now it was about this, and it wasn't about like
And that's
skills.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So
Too
it
many
became-
distractions.
But the thing is, if you're gonna have it, the part I don't mind, if you're gonna have, because I was a Girl Scout, I didn't go all the way up because the problem in Girl Scouts is they only care about the cookies. Once you're at a certain age and you don't really sell the cookies anymore because you're not cute enough with the pigtails, they don't want you anymore.
Oh
Okay,
man.
so they don't really, and you know what? And I wasn't interested in my sewing merit badge. I wanted to go out and like whittle stuff, and I wanted to like go out. I was a tomboy. I wanted to go out into the woods, and even though I hate bugs, but I love the woods. It's kind of creepy. It's a weird setup, but whatever. But you know, point being is though, I would love to have gone into the Boy Scouts, but separately, because I do believe that girls find strength with girls and boys find strength with boys. It's a camaraderie
yeah.
thing. And I mean, we can work together too. We can have certain joint tasks. We can have certain things, but like barracks wise or whatever else, you should have your separate quarters. You shouldn't be mingling.
Intermingled, yeah.
Which I think that's what they do anyway. But you know, but there is things that girls can do that guys can't, and vice versa. Okay.
Sure.
There's
There's a lot of physical, contrast though as well, right? So I mean, when you're thinking about soldiers, I mean, yes, some women can be soldiers. Sure, not saying they can't be. You know what I mean? However, not every woman can be a soldier.
No.
Not every man can be a soldier either, though, to be perfectly fair.
Right,
I mean, especially
exactly.
today's men, right? We got quite a bit of soy boys out there. So I mean, it's listen, right now with
They're
everything,
gonna wave their cards.
and that's what I'm saying, right? We live in a time where it shouts your mental illness, right? Isn't that like one of the things that they were pushing? It's like, guys, this is the military, man. We don't no. We need to be tough guys over here.
Right. All right. Well, let's go. I guess we should move on though, and let's go to the third part of this video that we wanted to talk about.
Campaigned on lowering prices for consumers. We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have done a lot, and there have been a number of executive orders that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is a core part of lowering prices. More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our
grocery prices
slate
aren't gonna come
of executive orders, no,
about the
Margaret,
grocery
prices
prices.
are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think that in those 5 days, he's accomplished more than Joe Biden did in 4 years.
All right, what you got? Because I can't hear you.
Ah, that's all right. All right. So, Vance she's grilling him on the grocery prices. I thought you guys were going to go ahead and sign executive orders to bring down the grocery prices.
I really can't just swipe a pen on that stuff.
No,
Come
well,
on.
no. So his response to it is that, if you go ahead and we did sign a bunch of them, it's more so in the line of gas prices. Okay, is what they're trying to do. So the idea is that if you want to go ahead and get your food, right? You got a bunch of chickens. They're having eggs over here. What are you going to go ahead and how are you going to get the eggs to the grocery store? Well, you got to transport them in a truck, right? It costs diesel fuel. So if you can bring down the price of gas, you will you will also be bringing down the price of said goods.
Oh, absolutely. Because if it costs a lot to transport it, it's going to make the prices go up.
But
if
this
people
is
have to pay more to put it into their stores. The prices are going to go up more.
So this is one of their big talking points on the left right now is that, I thought Trump was going to go ahead and fix the grocery store prices. How come that didn't happen yet?
They said that on the first day of his inauguration
it's
within
4 days.
hours. And I'm like, dude, it's only been like an hour since he's been president. Can you give him a minute?
They thought that egg prices were going to drop $5 in a day. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time for these policies to bear fruit.
Right.
But they are the right policies to go ahead and try to implement.
No, absolutely. I mean, because right now, the people that bought the products originally prior to Trump being president, had to pay a certain amount, they still need to get that money back. So it's going to take some time before they kind of, I guess, are in the black to like be able to lower the prices.
Well, it's also going to take a little bit of time to get more production out of oil as well, right? To bring that price down. I mean, that's not something like you said. You just flip the magic pen there, and all of a sudden, poof, grocery prices are down.
And then, whoop,
but
There
that's
you
it.
go.
That's the right concept, though, is that, listen, one of the big things that are driving the prices that are, of our groceries that continue to increase, any good that we're trying to purchase, is that they have to spend more in transportation to get them there. Not to mention that the farmer has to spend more trying to fill up his tractor, with
Right.
gas so that he can go out there and produce the grains or whatever it is that they're trying to get together anyway. So
Right.
everything costs energy.
And it'll all balance itself out in the end.
Absolutely. It's going to
So-
take just a little bit of time to start seeing these prices come down. But I mean, look, a few months, hopefully we're going to start to see these prices come back down. I'm just waiting for
by
it.
the end of the summer, we'll start to see some change.
I'd like to see it before then, but I mean,
I would like to see it before then too, but I'm just giving a decent time.
No, yeah, it's
frame,
going to take a little bit of time.
Like I'm talking about, I think we'll see it before then, but we'll really kind of
Start to feel it.
the
Yeah.
benefits of it.
Because I'll tell you what, man. Listen, I'm sitting here like every other American in this, in the country right now. We need this pressure off our back.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
can't stand having to spend. I go to the grocery store, and when I used to like $200-300. You remember back in the day when you would spend $200-300 and you were like living
Your
like
whole
a king?
everything
You had
was
your
filled up.
cart
Yeah.
overflowing, and you were just like, now I get $200-300 and I have 2 bags, and I'm like,
That's it.
What
And you got to pay for them
happened?
bags too here in New
Yeah,
Jersey,
I
right?
know,
I mean,
I
they
know.
get you on the way in and the way out. I mean,
I'm hoping our
it's.
governor in New Jersey, when we get a new governor, that they do away with the plastic.
Oh, I hope
bags.
so. I miss those little plastic bags, man.
I used them. I recycled them.
Mm-hmm. They
I
were
recycled
trash
them.
bags.
Yes,
They
and
were
I
trash
think
bags.
I think we should still have the brown paper bags though as options. Like I don't think we.
Do they even have those at the grocery stores anymore? Because all I ever see is the ones you gotta buy for like.
Walgreens does.
Okay.
Walgreens gives you the brown paper. There is you can get those, but the reusable ones, they're causing more problems than anything, because then you got to throw them away when they get a rip in them.
So you're still seeing.
Are they biodegradable?
You're
No.
still seeing these thick plastic bags floating around all the woods, right? You're driving around. It used to be the little bags that would, take a while to break down. Now it's the thick ones,
Yeah.
right? They're not breaking down anytime soon.
No, not at
So
all.
I don't know whose grand idea. And let me tell you, I'm so tired of paper
It's all
straws.
about money.
Paper straws. I don't know who came up with that idea. All right, but it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
You know what was funny to me when that first started going on? I don't eat at McDonald's regularly, okay, but occasionally you have to go there. So you used to get the paper cup with the plastic straw, okay? Now they couldn't.
Now you get the plastic
Now
cup
you
with the
get the
paper
plastic
straw.
right. And I'm like, really? What is the problem? Like, what is the point of this?
Oh
Like,
my God, you're not wrong. Yes, that's absolutely
like,
right.
am I really seeing this right now? Like, what happened?
So not only did they get rid of the little tiny plastic straw, but they gave you a giant plastic cup.
I know.
I mean, who is writing this stuff? I just don't understand.
I remember looking at it and I'm like, are you kidding me right now, right? Like, what?
But no, listen, they're doing a lot of good things with gas, okay? And the prices are going to start to come down. We're going to start to see it. We just have to wait for them to continue to pump more gas out so that we see a major impact.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he's doing a lot it's only been like 2 weeks, 10 days. I'm not sure exactly.
It's like 5 days. It hasn't even been that long.
It's been more than 5 days, but I don't know if it's been, I think it was a week on
Monday. A week on Monday. Okay,
So
yeah.
it's been like 10 days. I don't know, give or take a few. But like it hasn't been that long at all.
And how many sweeping changes have we seen so far? I mean, it's that man has not slept in those 10 days.
I know. And you know what though? But he's been boots on the ground. He's been going places. He answers questions. Biden would just answer maybe one question, and it was usually a planned question. And he would barely answer it, because the reason why I say barely is because half of it you wouldn't understand what he was saying.
Pressure.
Exactly. And then the other half you're like, oh, I think that's what he meant. I mean, and Trump, don't get me wrong, there's still times where I'm just like, really, should you have said it that way? Like there's some things that I still like. I like President Trump. He was the best man for the job. But I do have my little issues with him at times. But you know what? I have that with everybody. So
well, we need to watch him as well. So, All right, let's see what's
All
next
right,
on the
what's
agenda
next
here.
one? Let's do our video 4, the part 4.
Consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives.
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel's way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices,
We're not
we are going to
getting
see
anything.
lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
Yeah, so that one there was, it sounded like a lot of the same stuff he was talking about with the gas prices and lowering the price of bacon and things like that.
Yes, and sorry guys, we're having a little audio problem, so we're not.
That's right, we're
following
working
along,
through
so
it.
we're working through it. But the yeah, I mean, I remember this clip, and she's just hammering away at him. I will say this about Vance through this whole interview: he handled himself brilliantly. Okay, I loved how he would
He's a
put
class
stuff,
act.
he would put stuff back on her,
Mhm.
and she didn't know what to do with that. That was
Look, you very
brilliant.
well could be looking at our next president for the following 8 years when Trump has done this term. I mean, he is definitely a class act, and he knows how to attack these people politely, smiling, and
Right.
just puts them in their place.
Yeah, and I wasn't really a fan of him at first either,
Yeah.
but after I've seen how he handles himself, I mean, I'm going to be honest, he handles himself better than Trump does in some ways. In some ways, they balance each other out very, very well.
He's very reserved, whereas Trump is more brash, right? He's got that old New Yorker where Vance is a little bit more reserved. He thinks about what he's going to say and doesn't come across quite as the New York asshole that we all love Trump for being. You know,
that's a good way to put it. You said it pretty well.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, I mean, all the things that that we've talked about, all the different policies, they're going after Vance and having him, defend all of Trump's policies. And I think what they're really trying to do is to have him slip up to say that he doesn't support something. And they're really trying to, I think, with some of these interviews, to cause division between him and Trump. They're trying to slip him up to make him say something that he doesn't completely agree with it, so they can just kind of hammer that in.
Well, that's exactly what they want. They just want us divided right now and fighting amongst ourselves. That's why, we saw the big HB1 visa thing. And, every time you turn around, they're always trying to throw more and more, shade over at, whoever it is that they're targeting this week. I used to work for people like that. They would pick somebody and try to go ahead and target them, a new person every week. You know what I mean? And it's just trying to get people fired. It's like, guys, come on, can we please stop trying to, mess with people's livelihoods here? I mean, it's not, it's not appropriate.
All right, let's do the video 5.
Margaret, you talk about the expertise from FEMA. FEMA in North Carolina, in California, in Florida with some of the hurricanes has often been a disaster. And it's not because we don't have good people at FEMA. It's because bureaucratic red tape and garbage prevents the rapid deployment of resources to the people who need it most.
But the states are now going to have to do this themselves?
The president is trying to encourage us to reform the way that we deliver emergency response in a way that gets resources to the people who need it.
So don't take him literally, is what you're saying.
We should take the president at his word that FEMA needs desperate reform, because it does. Margaret, when I went to North Carolina as VP elected before we were sworn in, people would talk about how FEMA would get resources, food, medicine, water to a warehouse, but then would have no plan to get it from the warehouse to the people in the mountains who are literally starving and thirsting to death. We can do so much better, and under Donald Trump's leadership.
All right, so that one, he was talking about FEMA and how they weren't doing their job. And, Trump came out and said that he could possibly go ahead and shut down FEMA. And look, we've seen these, all these different natural disasters taking place, right? We saw North Carolina, we saw Florida. Well, listen, that's fair. We could go down that rabbit hole another time, but we'll go with that for now, right? These disasters are taking place, and FEMA comes out and says, "Oh, we can't go there because they have a Trump flag."
Yeah, I know. That was just horrific. I mean, you're supposed to be a non-political organization that's just there for the people, for relief, for safety, for security, for whatever, and I like Vance, like I said from the last one, Vance stands behind Trump. They're trying to get him to trip him up to go against him. I like the fact that they're united because, with Pence, there wasn't always that.
Well, because Pence
glue.
was something else.
And,
He was he
so
was a plant.
They're trying to do the same thing, but hoping that Vance will fall for it. And he's too smart for that. And, they're united, and FEMA is supposed to be like federal money should be going to the states to help them. They shouldn't be the ones in control going there. They're supposed to be there as an advocate. They're supposed to let the states kind of tell them, because the states know what they need. They know their system. They know their roads. Like, that's what Trump was saying.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to go there and start saying, well, you need to do this. They don't know nothing about the area. They know nothing about the situation.
And they don't know what they need. You're right. I mean,
they should be going there. How can we help? What do you need? And being a supporter of it and giving them whatever money that's, or maybe not exactly what they want or asking for money. I mean, I'm sure some people in some, states might try to, feed them dry, but fine. But they're supposed to give them money or give them whatever support it is that they need to get the job done.
And that's
that way
the
they
idea.
Can outsource.
And that's the idea of what he's trying to do, is he's just trying to cut out the middleman,
right,
and just be able to give the money directly to the states.
Right, the states, and then the states can outsource it to other local companies that can make money from it, so everybody wins. So
who's the ones cleaning up North Carolina right now? The people of North Carolina. Right? The Amish. They brought the Amish down to help clean up and build.
Are amazing.
I'm telling you.
Did you see them move a barn? Did you ever see that video?
I've not moved a barn.
God.
I've seen them building stuff.
It was a huge barn. There must have been like 200 of them all lived in this barn. That's how big the barn is. And I was like, wow. But
once again, small communities. You see, that's what I'm talking about.
Just like back with 9/11, the whole city of New York, it's the first time I've ever seen New York so come together, and everybody from all the surrounding areas all came together and helped. That's what's trying to take place in North Carolina. But the problem is with Biden and FEMA, we're preventing that from happening. They weren't allowing people to come in, and they were making all these rules and regulations. That's what FEMA shouldn't be doing. They should be just helping, giving support, giving money, giving whatever.
Well, it shouldn't be partisan either, right?
No,
I mean, they're listening to the media, and the media is stoking fear, saying, oh, Trump supporters or this, that, and the other.
Fear makes money.
And now they're saying, oh, no, well, they're so scared they can't go to the Trump supporters' house because something's going to happen. You come to my house with a check. I'm going to give you a handshake, a hug. You know what I mean? You need a beer. What are we talking about? I need some money.
I mean, what is going to, that made no sense. Like, if you're there to help, why is someone that has an American flag? First of all, I don't understand. Answer me this. I don't understand when the American flag became a Republican thing. Shouldn't that be an American thing?
Democrats tried to label it a hate symbol.
I know, but that's bizarre to me. Like, how can anybody support a political party that accepts the American flag as something bad?
I was just seeing a little bit of AOC. AOC on Jon Stewart, I think it was. And she had all the American flags hanging behind her. And I'm just like, do you really? I thought you thought this is a hate symbol. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand. So they're still trying to keep it. I don't know how it became that way either. I mean, that's supposed to bring us together. That's where our patriotic bone is supposed to be. But they went ahead and they spent so much time trying to destroy the patriotism and the unification that we have here.
And I think that was their downfall.
Well, they tried to push too hard, too fast.
I think that was their biggest downfall. I mean, sadly, the division of the people should have been their downfall. But I think too many people started to realize and wake up that, hey, not everything is bad about this country. Like, when they started to go too hard, too fast, and I think when Trump came in and he was all about the people and the country, people are still fans of this country, as the good and the bad. So let's go to video 5.
I think that was 5. I think we're on 6.
Immigration,
the
and
next
customs
one.
enforcement to enter churches and to enter schools. Do you personally support the idea of conducting a raid or enforcement action in a church service, at a school?
Well, let me address this. Of course, if you have a person who is convicted of a violent crime, whether they're an illegal immigrant or a non-illegal immigrant, you have to go and get that person to protect the public safety. That's not unique to immigration. But let me just address this particular issue, Margaret, because as a practicing Catholic, I was actually heartbroken by that statement. And I think that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We are going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe
So
Biden.
you personally
let them talk
support them
about
going into
people like
schools
Laken
and
Riley who were
churches.
brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe. Let me ask this question.
That'd be quick, too, and
Let's
hit the
separate the
next segment.
immigration issue. If you had a violent murderer in a school, of course I want law enforcement to go and
course.
get that person out.
Of
So what's
course.
the point of the question?
I love Vance in this. This was my favorite part of the whole interview. Okay, which is why I picked it. It was my favorite, and it also resonates with what's going on in New Jersey too, that I want to touch on to make it a little bit more local as well. So there's a couple aspects of this video that I really liked. One, I love how he points out the hypocrisy of the churches. Okay, because don't get me wrong, I am a religious person. I am not, an anti-church kind of person. But just because you're a church does not mean that you will always have the best intentions involved. People are human beings, like I said earlier, and sometimes, don't always do things the way they should. And these churches have gotten money, and so they're now want to be able to, they don't want to lose that money, or they want to keep getting that money. I think that they need to start figuring out where their best interests are, lie. Do they want to harbor these criminals and have people, injured and hurt and brutalized, or do they actually want to do the right thing and follow the law? Secondly, the schools. So this is the fear stuff that I was talking about earlier. New Jersey, the sanctuary states, the Democrats, they're using the fear. She was trying to use the whole fear tactic against him. Okay. And so she says, so you do support them going into the schools. He supports them getting the criminals out of the schools. The New Jersey and other sanctuary states and people like Governor Murphy, they're using fear. They're acting like ICE is going to go breaking through the doors and start going all through like a raid through the schools and start grabbing kids left and right and pulling them out by their hair and throwing them into, they're doing this whole worst case, crazy scenario that this fear tactic. And that's not what they're doing. The New Jersey Department of Education there was an article in the Shore News that encourages schools and students to protest and obstruct the ICE agents. Okay. It says that the ICE agents they said schools are not to grant ICE agents access to school premises without a warrant or special circumstances to remove a student. Governor Murphy has vocally opposed federal immigration crackdowns, and the New Jersey Department of Education called on districts to develop a comprehensive plan to address potential enforcement actions, including ensuring the safety of the undocumented students and peers. Schools are encouraged to prepare staff for scenarios involving non-local law enforcement and limit building access points. So they're acting like they're going to be just barging in. Now, those kids, I know that they're kids, okay? And I don't want to see any kid, be traumatized by seeing an official come in, but they would probably, the way common sense would do it, is they would go to the office would call the kid down, and then they would take the kid out. Nobody would know what was going on, and it would be a simple process, okay, if they followed the process. But instead, they're going to make this a whole big chaos. They're going to cause more stress and trauma than it's worth.
No, that's exactly what they're going to wind up doing. As soon as you go ahead and say, oh, no, you can't come in, and we're going to go ahead and block you. Well, now you have to use better means to come in. I mean, look, it is a shame that we find ourselves in this position. However, the last 4 years have allowed this to go on. I mean, Vance made a good point. If there's a school shooter, do you not go into the school to get the shooter?
Right.
I mean, you know, now look, we saw down in Uvalde, you know, some people didn't want to go do that, right? I mean, it was
Right.
a big issue, and we saw more lives were lost because of it, you know. So I mean, it's
But look,
it's a complicated situation.
it is. It is. But you know what? They're focusing on right now. They're focusing on the criminals.
Right, and that's not a
So
child, and
many-
that's not a child.
Well, actually, I differ. Some of the children, and I'm sure you've had in your nursing career, there are some children who might be, you know, that do criminal acts.
And true,
okay?
true. I mean, especially
And
if you're
they
talking
do
about
sell
older
drugs, and
children.
You don't know. You don't know, especially if they're being forced and coerced and whatever. You don't know if where these children are coming from. You don't know if their families are really even their families.
Very true with that too.
So, and that's the other thing. The schools are preventing possibly getting a kid
Saving
and
children.
saving a children from a family that's not even their actual real family.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, it's multifaceted. It's not just, you know, cut and dry, and they need to be participating.
There's a lot of gray.
Right. And I'm not a fan of the idea, but look, when I was in high school, I had there was a drug bust in my high school class. Okay. Do you know what that taught me? Don't do drugs.
Don't bring your drugs to school, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
You know.
but I mean, it was traumatizing. The police came in, they grabbed the kid, they put him up against the wall, they handcuffed him, they went out, and we just carried on. But you know what? We didn't have a feelings day or a trauma day.
And keep
we
it
just
moving.
kept on with class,
That's
and you
it,
went on your way. Like it was, you know, nowadays that would have been a whole 2 days off of school and whatnot. But
I'll tell you one more thing about the Catholic Church before we move on here, okay? So, you know, I mean, look, I got a lot of issues with organized religion myself, but I am very spiritual. You know, that's neither here nor there.
you're not, or you are.
I am.
Oh,
I
you
am.
are,
I
yes.
am. God is great every day.
There's a difference between spirituality and church.
Organized religion, absolutely. So now, one of the things I do want to say, okay, is that the Catholic Church has had indoctrination that, you know, listen, LGBT, you know, homosexuality is going to go ahead and it's illegal in the church, right? Let's go ahead and use that. Okay, it's a no in the church. Well, all of a sudden, a lot of these Catholic churches have been promoting, you know, the LGBTQ movement.
Right.
All right. So last summertime, I want to say, in someplace up north, maybe Vermont or one of them, you know, New Hampshire, one of those New England states. Okay. They had a celebration for the LGBTQ event. All right. An hour later, a storm rolled in and lightning struck that church and burnt it to the ground. All right.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah. God is vengeful. All right. So, you know, now look, I'm not saying nothing about it. I'm just, you know, these Catholic, the people behind it, right? The bishops, what they're saying. I mean, they need to tighten up their house.
Yes.
You know, that's fair.
Yes. All right. Let's take a break here and we'll go on to our next segment soon.
Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore, we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
All right. Where we at next?
Trump Shuffle. Hi, we're back. All right. So now we're at segment 3. We're at the Trump Shuffle. Video 1 that we're going to show here is the Trump press conference.
Mr. President, without your help, they're only going to get $43,000 from the federal government, even if they have a $500,000
you know, you did
uninsured
something,
loss.
Brad, where every insurance company in the country left California. That's why you have no insurance, because you made it so impossible. People that think like you made it so impossible. And you know,
Brad, me,
every
Mr.
insurance
President,
company.
I don't know what
I'll
you
tell
know
you this,
about my thinking.
I've never seen a state where almost nobody has insurance. And I said, what happened? And they said like 6 months ago they all left, and 2 years ago they had different quadrants, but they left. And you have very little insurance here. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
We had a lot of insurance companies pull out, but I have no
and
idea.
the insurance companies actually have been warning you. Now, I'm not a big fan of insurance companies, okay? They have their big drawbacks too, but the insurance company, I read the papers very well, and you know, they've been warning California for a long time. They've also been saying, we want water. You don't have water. You're supposed to get fire insurance. And the insurance company goes, you don't have any water in your fire hydrants. So it's a tough situation. I'm not a big fan of insurance companies. I get that.
All right. So that video, was addressing basically the fires that are going on in California, the lack of water, how insurance companies are not taking on, are turning away people and not paying out. And, it's just
Well, they've been
ridiculous
pulling
situation.
out of California for a long time, all these insurance companies, and the ones that are still there, I mean, they're raising their their rates
Right.
astronomically through the roof. These people can't afford to go ahead and pay the rates. God forbid something happens to your house. I mean, that's it. And then we just saw these fires, and it's like, how did they have the foresight to know that something like this was about to happen?
Right. It's a tragic situation that's going on there, and Newsom is just making it worse, and he needs to go. They need to completely do a rehaul on California and just, and
Well, they need to turn California red, is what they need to do,
Yeah,
right? I mean, let's get some competency back there.
yeah, but all the red ones are moving out,
Yeah.
so you're left with people that need to wake up, basically. And I'm still not completely convinced that this wasn't a intentional fire situation to land grab kind of situation.
Well, me
But-
and Damon were talking about that on the radio show. We watched a video where this kid took an overlay of the fire that happened in LA, and he took an overlay of their high-speed rail train track where the track is, and he laid it over, and it fit perfectly in the areas that got decimated to where they want the track to go. And then he immediately comes in right after that, doesn't talk about trying to stop the fires, but talks about how excited he is for LA 2.0 Smart City.
I know. He was almost like it was a Christmas morning. Kind of incident,
Giddy. He was over there dancing and doing his little thing.
But you know what? Trump went there. Biden never did that. Trump sat down and was talking about it, called them out on it. It was a great thing. I love the fact that he's not afraid to just speak his mind. Sometimes that kicks him in the butt sometimes when he does that, but other times it can be very powerful. And this was one of those very powerful moments and very supportive moments. Let's see video 2 after the LA fires tour. What was? Oh, okay.
All right. Just kidding. We're back.
Sorry, I made a mistake. There is no video 2. So these there is something here that was talking about the LA fires, and the panel focuses on rebuilding and wildfire prevention. So what do you think that they could have done differently for wildfire prevention?
Well, number one, this is one of the things I was talking about too. Well, water is very important, right? But you had to save those Delta smelt fish or whatever they were. So I grew up in Cape May Courthouse, okay? And I used to drive down there, and we used to have an easement, all right, 8 feet from the side of the road to where the forest started, okay, and grass shoulder in between, okay? I went back there a few years ago when I got back to New Jersey, and that is down to maybe 4 feet with the trees encroaching on the road, all right? One of the things that they stopped doing was raking the forest. Trump talked about that.
Yes, they did.
Okay, they're not cutting the trees back. They're not cleaning up the brush. Right. So, I mean, when you're doing that, you just have all this extra fuel now just waiting for a spark.
Oh, yeah. It's just kindling, basically.
And that's it, right? You have to take care of the forest to prevent this.
Right. And I saw videos of a lot of families that were complaining about that. They've requested help for that for multiple times, and nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very important process too, right? So then you look, we had the same problem with the Canada wildfires a few years back. Okay, Maui, and I'll tell you, I lived in Hawaii as well, right? There's a lot of brush and high grass and things like that out there. I mean, we just saw the Maui fires, where they went ahead and eminent domain, I believe. I don't know if they eminent domain. I haven't followed that story.
Similar. The two are very similar. But I don't want to spend too much more time because I know we're kind of over our hour a little bit here. So, but yeah, I definitely agree that, Trump is definitely making a difference. He's making an impact. He is really trying to do peace through strength. He's really trying, to show his power, but also be, a good negotiator, through it all. So I hope that this is a positive thing to come. Let's get to our JCP Award, which is the Jersey Shore Patriot Award. There's a video that I want to show you. This is, I believe, the Tony ×2 video, I believe it is. But if I'm mistaken, please forgive me for that. So let's roll that clip.
Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore, we reclaim the land. Saudi Arabia invest $600 billion into America. No, no. Countries used to always make us give them money, and now he's making countries invest in America. Our tax money always went to Ukraine, Africa, and other countries, and we used to get mad. But now he's making countries give us money. Now they all want to invest in America. He's trying to make America great again. What are we gonna do? America keeps getting better by the day. Why is Trump doing this? We gotta stop him so we can be complaining about government again, giving away all our money. He also went to North Carolina and looked at all the damage when it took Biden forever to go. No! He said
I want to thank
go.
this guy for doing this video. It just perfectly summed up our whole segment, in like in a little parody kind of way. I mean, and it basically shows how, you know, the liberal tears and the Democrat fears that are going on out there, and it was just beautifully done. So that was why he deserves our JSP Patriot of the Week award.
That was good. Yeah, I did enjoy that. You know, he's like, oh no, they're making countries pay us again. What are we going to complain about?
Yeah, I will say though, let's see, for our Loser of the Week award, there's so many to choose from. I wasn't sure really what to pick out of that, and thought about giving it to Damon since he wasn't here and since he's complaining.
We can call him the Gimp of the Week.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's fair, you know, with his busted back.
He's got a busted back, but and it is a serious thing, and we joke. I mean, we want him to get better, but we still like to tease each other. So we thought about giving it to him, but I'll be kind and I won't do it to him.
Okay, who you got then, Jen?
I think we did Newsom once before, but I don't know. I'm going to give it to, actually, I'm going to do a local. I'm going to give it to Governor Murphy.
Okay, Governor Murphy.
Governor Murphy, and causing all these fears and supporting ICE and going against the
will of the people. He's going against the will of the people.
I'm going to give it to Governor Murphy. He deserves it, and I really hope that he gets voted out.
Well, he's done. His
done,
term is over.
I'm just hoping.
But we need some good
yes.
Republican MAGA leadership coming to the state.
Be out. I didn't mean to say voted out.
That's fair.
I want him to be out.
Well, you know, I'd love to see him recalled, but I mean, you know, that's just me.
Oh yeah, that would be wonderful. So make sure you pay attention to votes. Make sure you pay attention to your upcoming in June, and for New Jersey anyway, it's in June for your why did I just forget what the election is?
The primaries?
Primary. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm having a senior moment. I'm like,
it's all right. It happens. Brain farts. You know, it's all right. No worries.
I'm having senior moments already. But yes, you need to make sure you know who you're voting for, because that's what matters the most. Because if you don't vote in the primary, you're going to be stuck with whoever you get in November. So
that's it. And local elections are the most important one. And, you know, Damon is doing a very good job of getting all these interviews up and things like that for our area. So, you know, hopefully we'll be seeing more of that to come as well.
Yes. And tune in for us next week, and tune in to the radio show, which is on Thursdays, every Thursday.
5 to 6 on Cruisin' 92.1. Yep. Cruisin' 92.1 WVLT. Every Thursdays from 5 to 6, the Jersey Shore radio show with Damon Galdo and his best co-host, Pete Sykes, who's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, and then the podcast comes on every Thursdays at 7:00, and you can find us anywhere on YouTube, on the Patriots Prayer Network, on Rumble, on Facebook. You can find us anywhere, so look us up.
And keep your eyes peeled for the up-and-coming psych report.
There you go.
You guys have a good night.
Have a good night.